Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. It's Mika's Journeys. If you're new here, my name is Mika and I make videos about lifestyle, family, and finance and travel. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, make sure you click that subscribe button down below and keep watching for more. In today's video, I want to talk about my 4 favorite tips for how to live more intentionally, as well as how to build up intentionality in your everyday life. Do you ever just wake up or sit down and have the thought or question in your mind, what am I doing? What is all this for? Like, what's the purpose? If so, it's probably because you are struggling with living intentionally. Nowadays, that is something that a lot of us struggle with. I struggle with it sometimes myself, and that's normal. I think with today's culture of kind of just go, 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 work, 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 grind, 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 you know, all of this just to try and survive, a lot of us get stuck in this spot of not really knowing what we actually want to do, why, how, anything. That can really set you up for different issues like depression, burnout, feeling unfulfilled. It's really important to sit down sometimes and ask yourself, what is it for? What is the meaning of any of this? And what am I actually trying to do? That's what it kind of means to live intentionally. And for me, it really boils down to living with some sort of purpose. For everybody, that's going to be different. Your purpose is not going to be the same as mine, probably in any sort of capacity, and that's okay. We all have a different purpose in life. It's mainly about trying to find that purpose for yourself and figure out how you're going to fulfill that purpose for yourself, so that you can feel like you are actually living with some sort of meaning behind it, some sort of purpose behind it. And regardless of how big or small that purpose may be or may seem to other people, you're going to feel fulfilled. You are going to feel like your life is just full of happiness, motivation, energy, positive vibes, everything, because the purpose is unique to you. So the first thing you're going to want to do if you're trying to live your life more intentionally is to find out what your priorities and your values are. You need to know what matters for you. For me, that's having family time and the flexibility within my days, my weeks, my years to spend a good amount of quality time with my family, as well as having adventures with my family, which is why we travel a lot, because those are the big things that make me feel fulfilled. For you, this could be different. This could be getting as high up in your career as possible. It could be getting closer to God or whatever your religion might be. And that might be something that brings fulfillment to your everyday life. Whatever it is that you realize makes you feel like you're just good inside. It gives you that feeling of just feeling like nothing's missing right now because I did this thing and this thing and this thing. For me, I feel that way when I make the bed in the morning, make dinner, and do at least one activity with my daughter in the day. Once I feel like I've done those things, I go to bed at night feeling just amazing. I feel like my day and my time has been used so well. I've prioritized everything that's important, and I can look back on those days and feel just amazing about it. And it's just a natural feeling. No one told me I was supposed to feel good about that stuff. Nobody has to encourage me to do those things, because I just feel good when I accomplish those things. Tip number 2, setting achievable, realistic goals. Now, this is kind of like a 2-part sort of tip, I'll say, because I also want to talk about setting like daily goals and daily plans, but that also ties into setting those bigger goals, right? When you're trying to set goals for yourself, obviously you want to be realistic about it. So we want to aim high, of course, but it's important to remember to scale those really big goals back a little bit in order to make them achievable. You can pick a big goal and you need to focus on what that goal is when you're trying to do it and break it down into achievable bits and tell yourself how you're going to work little goals to work up to that big goal at the end. And that's what's going to help you stay motivated throughout that journey, throughout that process of trying to achieve bigger goals. When we set ourselves up for like really huge achievements, really huge goals, what sometimes will happen is that you get to a certain point and you feel like you're not making enough progress on this really big goal, and then you feel like, okay, well, I give up. It's too much, it's too hard, I can't do it, forget it. We want to set ourselves up to achieve things, feel fulfilled by it, and then keep progressing in those goals. For myself, a good example is my financial goals. What I tend to do is set a big financial goal. So let's say I want to save $10,000 in a year. Okay, that's a big number. Obviously, I cannot save that much money in a few weeks or in even a few months. Sit down and I break that goal up into smaller goals that are going to be achieved sooner, which helps me to stay motivated to keep working on that one really big goal. I start breaking apart that big number into smaller numbers, or I'll break it up into the months, the weeks, paychecks, whatever is gonna work best for my budget at the time. I wanna get it done in 10 months, not at the end of the year, but in 10 months. So that's basically saving $1,000 a month. You need to give yourself a what, a when, and a how. So what I want to do in the end, $10,000. When do I want to do it? Yeah, 10 months. 10 months I'm giving myself. How am I going to do it? I am going to set aside this much money each paycheck per month. And at the end, it's going to add up to the $10,000. Now that's a really simple, basic sort of example, but you can do this with anything. If you want to have a promotion at your job, you set up what it is, it's a promotion. When you want to do it, is the job open right now and you want to work towards it within the next few weeks? That's pretty doable. And how? How are you going to prepare yourself to be seen and heard and then accepted into that role? And that's the sort of thing that you have to sit down and kind of calculate for yourself. Do you need to update your resume? Do you need a cover letter? Do you need to start connecting with other people within your organization in order to be seen better and get your name out there in order to reach that goal of getting this big promotion? It's all those little parts that are really important to building up to this big goal. You don't just want to walk into it and set up an interview and things that you didn't prepare for, you didn't work up to it. And so that's just another example, but you really want to follow that method for pretty much any goal that you want to set for yourself. So I talked about this just a little bit, but how this ties into setting daily plans and daily goals for yourself. So it's very similar, but the way to do this can look very different for different people. Some people like to plan out their entire weeks. Some people like to plan out every specific day individually. It's up to you what's going to work best for you. For me personally, I like to plan out my time in weeks. I like to put everything in a planner because for me personally, if I don't write it down, I don't know that it's going to happen, okay? And I'm going to completely forget and then I'm not going to get anything done. So for other people, this may look like every single day. If you're planning out your days of the week individually, you may want to plan out 7 a.m. I'm going to wake up. Because if you write it down, you set the alarm, you're more likely to actually follow through. And I know that sounds kind of crazy or like just silly, but it's true. Set that schedule for yourself. Set those alarms on your phone. Set reminders if you need to use a virtual like Google Calendars. Set a reminder on the calendar to remind you that you are supposed to drink more water today. You need to drink another glass of water at 12 o'clock and at 2 o'clock, whatever it needs to be. Those simple little daily tasks that are going to help revitalize your life and revitalize your vibes, your positivity, your motivation. And once you get into habits like that, it's going to be so much easier to stick to these smaller goals, long-term goals, everything. It starts smaller. You have to start smaller and retrain your brain to take things like that seriously. What does drinking more water throughout the day have to do with saving more money? The real answer is just that it's about retraining your brain. One, water is good for you, so you should be drinking more water anyways. But if you need reminders to do that thing, to get yourself healthier from the inside out, then do that. My very last tip number 4, is to remember that this is a journey, and that means that along the way, you need to be reflecting. You need to reflect on your actions, on your days, weeks, months, whatever, and figuring out if you need to change things, if you're actually meeting your goals, or if you set too high of goals and you need to try and scale back a little bit more. That takes reflection. That takes sitting down, going over past events. It's important to just remember that it is necessary, because this isn't an overnight kind of like flip the switch sort of thing. It's a journey. It's a continuous journey to improve yourself. So you can't just expect to start seeing results immediately, and you can't expect to start seeing results if you don't take time to stop, focus on what you've done, and answer the question, have I been meeting my goals? Have I been doing things that are meaningful and putting value towards what I value and what I feel my purpose is in life? And if it turns out that you've been slacking a little bit, you haven't been meeting goals, you haven't been being mindful towards yourself, that's okay. That just means that you need to adjust a little bit, adjust how you're approaching it, adjust what you said your values were. You just made a mistake about what your values were, and you need to reevaluate that. That's fine. Take that time, check in with yourself periodically, and see if and how you need to adjust. And that's going to help you kind of solve this problem of feeling like there's no meaning, there's no purpose, So those are the tips that I have for living your life more meaningful, more intentional. They're tips that I use pretty much daily, and I try to remind myself to constantly be thinking about taking time out of my days, out of my weeks, to check in with myself about these 4 things, and making sure that I'm holding myself accountable for doing that consistently. Over the past 6 months, I'll say, is when I started being more conscious of this sort of thing and more intentional with what I was doing and choices I was making in life. And over these past 6 months, I can very clearly see what it is that brings me joy in life and what it is that takes away my joy, and how I'm working towards having more flexibility to simply live my life in those joyful moments. If you have found this information meaningful, helpful, in any sort of way, make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, more lifestyle videos, etc. And yeah, join the community. So see you guys next time, and I hope everybody has a wonderful and blessed week coming to them.